Imagine this. You're rummaging through a jar of spare change, and tucked between the quarters and dimes, you spot a nickel from 1970. At first glance, it seems ordinary, until you realize that this humble 5-cent piece could be hiding one of the rarest varieties of the Jefferson nickel series. Today, we're peeling back the layers on two of the most intriguing nickels you might stumble upon. The 1970 issue with its secret full steps and proof rarities, and the fabled 1955 strike that has stumped collectors for decades. Let's dive into the story behind the first of those, starting with the nickel that turns heads in any collection, the 1970 USA nickel. The tale of the Jefferson nickel begins in 1938, when sculptor Felix Schlag won the U.S. Mint's design competition. His depiction of President Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and Monticello on the reverse has graced 5-cent pieces ever since, surviving metal shortages and minor design tweaks. By 1970, the 3-layer copper-nickel clad composition was well established, but minting quirks remained. That year, Philadelphia struck its coins without a mint mark. Denver used a small D, and San Francisco's special proof production bore an S. Though billions of these coins rolled into circulation, a handful slipped through with a perfectly sharp strike across Monticello's 5 steps, known as the elusive full steps variety, or FS 101, and a small number of proofs were minted, destined to become prized rarities. Most coins leave the mint with soft detail across the bottom of Monticello, making the appearance of all 5 steps a telltale sign of rarity. In uncirculated grades, a typical 1970 D-nickel without full steps might fetch only 20 cents to $1. But discover a genuine full-step specimen in mint state, and you're looking at a value range of $5,750 to $10,000, depending on the grade and the eye appeal of those steps. Even in circulated condition, coins graded about uncirculated, with some remaining luster, can sell for hundreds at specialty auctions. Meanwhile, the San Francisco proof strikes, produced in much smaller quantities, attract serious attention. Proofs are distinguished by their mirror-like fields and frosted design elements, and the 1970 S proof record stands at $1,725 for an NGC-graded PR64 example sold in August 2010. Collectors prize any proof in grades above PR60, and finds graded PR65 or higher can command even more, especially when encapsulated by PCGS or NGC with a first strike designation. Circulated 1970 nickels, those that quietly exchanged hands for everyday purchases, typically hover around their face value, but with nuance. A well-worn example might be worth just 5 cents, its only value being its metal and the story it carries in faded detail. Sell rare coins. Step up to brilliant uncirculated MS60, MS63, and values range from a couple of dollars up to about $15. Once you reach the lower end of gem uncirculated MS65, typical auction results approach $20 to $25. Anything above that, say MS67 or MS68, starts to push into the hundreds or more, particularly if the strike and luster are exceptional. What makes the full steps variety so captivating isn't just the stepped detail. It's the story of lucky collectors spotting these coins amid millions. Imagine winning the lottery twice. Once to own a full steps nickel, and again to find one in near pristine condition. Only a handful have surfaced, and each find reignites excitement in forums and at regional shows. One collector famously discovered a full step specimen in a $2 roll and, after grading at MS65, sold it for over $10,000, proof that sharp eyes and patience can pay off handsomely. Beyond the full steps and proofs, a few other quirks keep the 1970 nickel interesting. Some die polishing lines, faint doubling on Jefferson's profile, or slight variations in mint mark placement can catch a specialist's eye. While these minor die states don't rival the FS 101 in value, they tell the story of how dies wear and are maintained at the mint, offering another layer of depth for those who love technical details. As for condition-based variations, here's the nutshell. Any 1,970 nickel in grades below fine, VF20, is generally worth face value or only modest premiums. From VF20 up to about uncirculated 50 to 58 Australian dollars. You might see 50 cents to $2. Once you hit the uncirculated range, MS60, MS63, coins become collectible with values typically between $2 and $15. At gem uncirculated, MS65 and above, expect $20 to $60 for standard strikes, while the select proofs and the full steps variety leap into the thousands. Always remember that grading nuances, eye appeal, and certification by a respected service like PCGS or NGC can swing values dramatically. So next time you're sorting through pocket change, pause when you pull out a 1970 nickel. Check Monticello's steps. If you see 5 full, sharp lines, you might just be holding a tiny treasure worth more than any Heady Days haul. And if it gleams like a proof, even better. Slip it out and consider getting it graded. In our next segment, we'll uncover the secrets of the 1955 nickel, another piece of pocket change with a reputation that spans generations. Stay tuned. Now that we've explored the fascinating quirks of the 1970 nickel, let's turn back the clock even further to a coin that has earned its own legendary status among collectors, the 1955 Jefferson nickel. This coin carries the weight of post-World War II America and sits at the crossroads of industrial innovation and artistic design. Much like finding a rare stamp tucked inside an old family album, the 1955 nickel can leap from a common pocket piece to a centerpiece of your collection, thanks to a handful of surprising varieties and stories that still captivate enthusiasts today. The Jefferson nickel debuted in 1938, but by 1955 the mint was navigating the early years of clad construction, sandwiching a pure copper core between copper-nickel outer layers. That year, the coins rolled out of Philadelphia, no mint mark, Denver D, and San Francisco's, at volumes totaling over 670 million pieces. On the surface, it was business as usual. Jefferson's profile on the obverse, Monticello on the reverse, and a smooth edge to carry 5 cents worth of commerce. Yet if you examine a 1955 nickel under magnification, you'll discover a handful of anomalies that elevate it from a utilitarian token to a storied collectible. One of the most famous is the wide AM variety. On the reverse, the inscription, America, can appear with the letters slightly farther apart than usual, creating a distinct visual gap between the A and the M. This subtle spacing error slipped through mint quality control in Philadelphia and now stands as one of the more accessible, but still thrilling, varieties to chase. The 2 wide AM die pairs were used early in the production run before being corrected, meaning any wide AM example represents an early strike coin with extra collectible cachet. But the showstopper is undeniably the double die obverse, though it's far rarer. In this case, the date and inscriptions on the obverse exhibit doubling so pronounced that you can see ghost-like overlaps on Jefferson's bust and the lettering. Unlike the wide AM, which requires a sharp eye and a loupe to appreciate, a true double die 1955 nickel leaps out even in moderate magnification. Only a handful are known to exist, making them the holy grail for die variety specialists. When one surfaced at a regional show in the late 1990s, word spread like wildfire, and today, any suspected double die piece instantly ignites bidding wars. Beyond varieties, the condition of 1955 nickel plays a huge role in its value. A heavily circulated specimen with smooth surfaces and faint detail might be worth a few cents over face value, appealing mostly to date and mint mark collectors completing basic sets. But once a coin reaches about uncirculated grade, where most design elements are complete but luster has faded, values typically climb into the single digits, sometimes touching $5 or $6, depending on eye appeal and the presence of any attractive toning. In the uncirculated grades, MS60, MS63, a standard 1955 nickel can command anywhere from $10 up to $25. When you hit gem quality, MS65 and above, model registry set builders sweep them up for $50 to $100 apiece. Proof-like and brilliant examples, especially those with original mint luster, approach the higher end of that spectrum. Yet the real premiums appear when collectors chase the wide AM or double die varieties in mint state. A wide AM in MS65 might fetch $300 or more, while a true double die specimen, if confirmed genuine, can soar into the thousands, with collectors sparring to own what amounts to one of the mint's most notorious errors. Market trends for mid-century nickels have been robust in recent years. As seasoned collectors shift from Lincoln cents and Mercury dimes to the ever-popular Jefferson series, demand for vintage issues like the 1955 nickel has outpaced supply. This dynamic pushes prices upward, with top-graded and certified pieces commanding especially strong premiums. Auction houses and online marketplaces now regularly feature high-grade 1955 nickels, drawing spillover interest from investors seeking diversification beyond gold and silver. Part of the allure of the 1955 nickel lies in its backstory. Post-war optimism, the rise of the American middle class, and the expansion of suburbia all unfolded during the mid-1950s. That Jefferson nickel likely passed through soda fountains, jukebox coin slots, and roadside lunch counters. Some examples even bear the wear patterns of having lived through decades of everyday use, giving each coin a unique personality. Collectors prize pristine examples for their untouched beauty, but many also cherish coins that bear faint striations and subtle toning, telling a personal tale of circulation. Interestingly, some collectors specialize in wheat paste sets, coins artificially aged or patinated to mimic period circulation. While these pieces never carry the same cachet as naturally toned specimens, they highlight the community's passion for the aesthetic history of coins beyond mere grades. Authentic toning on a 1955 nickel can add a surprising $10 to $20 even in mid-grades, reinforcing the idea that beauty and rarity often go hand in hand. Another fun nugget. Although it's not a pure rarity, many enthusiasts search for 1955 nickels exhibiting strong cameo contrast in proof sets. These cameo proofs, with frosted devices standing starkly against mirrored fields, were struck at San Francisco in smaller quantities and occasionally spilled into circulation through dealer bags. A cameo contrast S-proof in high grade might sell for $200 to $300, offering a lower volume alternative to the Philadelphia and Denver varieties. Finally, let's consider how condition impacts market value across the board. At the circulated end, grades beyond good G4 or very fine VF20, you can expect to pay only a few cents to a dollar. In the mid-level circulated grades, XF40, AU50, values climb into the low-digit dollar range. Once coins enter the uncirculated realm, MS60, MS63, typical prices span $10 to $25. From gem uncirculated MS65 upward, it's not uncommon to see auctions close between $50 and $150. Yet individual appeal, eye-pleasing surfaces, strong luster, or a small mint bag mark can move the needle significantly. Whether you're hunting for the distinctive wide AM or dreaming of spotting a once-in-a-lifetime double die on eBay, the 1955 Jefferson nickel stands as a testament to the richness lurking in everyday pocket change. Next time you tip a toll or pull a soda can from the machine, give your nickel a close look. You never know when a slice of history might be sitting quietly in your hand, waiting to tell its story. And there you have it. Two unassuming nickels that carry within them the excitement of discovery, the weight of history, and the thrill of the hunt. Whether it's the sharp, prized full steps on that 1970 piece, or the subtle spacing quirks and elusive double die surprises of the 1955, each coin reminds us that true rarities often hide in plain sight, waiting for the curious eye and a bit of patience to bring them into the light. So next time you're sorting through a roll of change, or tipping out your pocket at the end of the day, pause and give those nickels a closer look. You might just find yourself holding a story that spans decades, one that's been struck in bronze and nickel but lives on in every collector's heart. Keep exploring, keep asking questions, and Most of all, keep that excitement alive when you uncover a little piece of history. After all, the greatest treasures are sometimes just 5 cents a time.